evening. A warm welcome to State of Business RTV's Prime Time News Bulletin with me, Rukshi Panditaratna. Let's take a look at the headlines first. New foreign exchange law to be passed in Parliament this week. And term of Presidential Commission probing bond scam extended by 3 months. And today on Top Stories, State Minister of Finance Eran Wickramaratne says the new foreign exchange bill will be passed in Parliament this week. Wickramaratne said with that, the government is moving towards more a rule-based regulatory system. He said this addressing the inaugural session of Sri Lanka Economic Summit 2017 in Colombo this morning. Sri Lanka Economic Summit, organized by the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, is held under the theme Execute, Transform, Realize.
We are doing away with the decade-old Exchange Control Act. It's a conceptual move away from exchange control to exchange management. It's a conceptual move away from the government thinking that it's the owner of the hard-earned foreign exchange of its exporters, to the exporters being the owner and not the government. That's the conceptual change in this. There was a criminalization of exchange control violations in the previous act. We have removed that criminalization. There were prison sentences that were possible in the old act. We are moving away from outward control for incentives for exchange being brought into the countries. Those who have pending cases and violations could regularize by remitting and basically paying a penalty fee. If they remit it into government securities, even that fee will not be applicable. So there is no need for the exchange controller or the minister to approve.
Speaking further, the State Minister of Finance also said the proposed audit bill and new customs ordinance will be brought in within the next 6 months. He said the aim of the government is to put in place a proper legislative framework before the next budget. The State Minister also said that the new Inland Revenue Act will be implemented after integrating relevant amendments which would be proposed by the judiciary and other stakeholders.
There are issues on the Inland Revenue Act for sure. Many chambers, many industry groups have come and seen us. There are many challenges in the courts. We welcome those challenges because what we are doing, we want to do it upfront, we want to do it transparently. And when we adopt the amendments in Parliament, we will certainly take into account the directions of the court. Not only that, the suggestions that have been brought up from many interested parties, all the reasonable suggestions will be included when we move the amendments. Some of the issues that came up were the protection of taxpayer rights. It was on depreciation, on capital allowances, then the applicable date of the law, and also implementation. We certainly have in mind to have a smooth implementation.
The State Minister also revealed that the proposed Hambantota deal will go ahead and it will be beneficial to Sri Lanka. Speaking at the summit, the Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajith Kumaraswamy expressed views on the proposed Hambantota port deal.
I think it's wholly incorrect, inappropriate to look at Hambantota as a port deal. It is much more than a port deal. The long lease of the port can catalyze much, much more. Now, clearly we have to negotiate the port deal as rigorously as possible and to protect our interests as well as we can. But what that port would do is to transform an area. You know, it's rather shameful that 69 years after independence, how little we have done for the people of Monragala, for the people of Uva. This investment gives you the potential to transform those areas because straight after the port deal, the Chinese are willing to do investments in what they call foundational industries. That is cement, LNG plant for energy, steel billets, ship repair. That comes in the first phase. Then they're willing to take on, they've said 15,000 acres of land for industrial zones. Even if we do a third of that, it'll transform those areas. And we have done very little for those people.
Meanwhile, speaking at the summit, the Deputy Minister of Economic Development, Dr. Harsha De Silva, said the government is taking necessary initiatives to address the issue of lack of coordination amongst the state institutions.
This is a massive problem. Coordination. The number of ministries, the policies that are made by one ministry is contradictory to the policies of another ministry. There are 4 different ministries that look into agriculture, or 5, transport, megapolis, transport, this, that, other thing. How does the private sector coordinate with the government? And there are issues of access to land, policy uncertainty, particularly in terms of taxes and trade. And I hope these we would certainly be able to address urgently from the point of view of policy. So what you can expect in the next, perhaps in the month or so, is a revised 3-year policy plan to be released at the 2nd anniversary that will show you precisely what we are going to do till the end of the first term of this government, and hopefully an 8-year plan till 2025.
The term of office of the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, which was appointed to probe the central bank bond issue, has been extended by 3 months from July 27th to October 27th. The Commission should now hand over its report by 27th of October this year. The Department of Government Printing issued the relevant Gazette notification today. President Maithripala Sirisena appointed the 3-member commission to probe the controversial bond issue in January this year. Let's take a look at more news after this break. Welcome back. Minister of Tourism John Amaratunga is optimistic that Sri Lanka will be able to reach the projected arrival target of 2.2 million tourists this year. The minister said this speaking at an event in Colombo last evening.
This year's target of 2.2 million tourists is no problem. In spite of the setbacks that we are experiencing now, we will be going over and above 2 million, I think, if all goes well. If the Indian market is properly tackled and handled, we can get from India itself at least 500,000 or even more than that. There is no difficulty. Indians are waiting to come here, mainly because our connectivity has gone up so much. Convenient. Next month we are moving into China in order to see how best we could increase the Chinese market.
The officials of the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority inspected the eateries and restaurants in Kandy to see whether they match the quality which is expected by tourists. Thereafter, the eateries and restaurants were graded as A and B. At this event, 18 of those selected eating places were issued with certificates.
Our objective is to get everyone up to a standard quality of restaurants in this country. There should not be a compromise on hygiene, food quality and the service. Very important thing is to maintain the hygienic part of the food and the quality and the services. There should not be, once certified by SLDDA must take steps to constantly monitor the establishment. It should not be the end. You should go on continuously monitoring of the standards that they have displayed at this competition, but they should continue that.
Let's take a look at stocks after this break. Welcome back. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a mixed note today. The all-share price index dropped 1.78 points to close at 6,662.34, and the S&P SL 20 index gained 8.5 points to close the session at 3,821.89. The turnover was 359.9 million rupees and 14.6 million shares were traded. Let's take a look at today's Forex rates. Thank you for watching State of Business. See you tomorrow at the same time. Till then, take care. Good night.